a date for the tryouts, so we can start working on the jerseys. As soon as we can get that, it's a 3-week lead that we need to have to get those ready. So basically, I mean, we need to do that ASAP. I was going to talk to Brandon to see if there's a possibility to actually to build a mount in field number 2, because that is a field that we can use for 9, 10, for kid pitch.
57.
And right now it's like completely flat. I don't know if that will be something that
You used to have a mountain.
feasible.
It melted away.
Used to it, just kind of slowly but surely withered out. So yeah, that's something we can look at.
We wanted to be able to have a dual, right?
Yeah.
50 feet, what, is it 43?
46.
46.
46 and 50.
So
yeah.
similar to what we do on field 3.
Yeah.
Because we could actually use that for 11U, 12U.
Actually-
It could use dual space, which would be helpful.
And we have rubber mounts too that I don't know if they can actually make a fit there and make it permanent. I don't know if that will be an option too.
Okay.
Yeah, you could put the permanent ones over. I know they do that for middle schools.
So that's about it for me.
Okay. All right, so we'll go back to the treasurer's report. I'm just waiting for the 990 to be completed, Brandon, I'll send that over to you. But financially in a good place for the league, so I think there's going to be some long sustainability there. We've gotten some great sponsorships. We've gotten a lot of help on the community front, so we were able to put some of that money away and then start to reinvest it into things like L screens and other things that we need for the league. So in a very good place there. We'll share that information. It's public anyway, so I mean, if you want to Google the 990, it's out there. But we'll share that with the board and the village, and like I said, if anyone else would like to see it. But in a pretty good place. Like I said, from what I can recall, I think we had all but one team sponsored in the fall. We were short for this, so I mean, out of say 70 some odd teams, we got sponsored, and not just the smaller sponsorships. We had a lot of teams. If you'll notice, shame on me, I haven't put them up yet, but I have probably another 10 banners that need to go up that are in the equipment room currently, because people have invested more into our league, not just folks that are parents and their organizations that they work for, but also the local community. And it's nice, you get to a point where they're calling me going, hey, you didn't pick up your check yet. And I go, oh, kind of forgot, but let's go get it. So it's awesome to see that with the local community. We have some regulars that you'll see on that field. So that's really it from a treasurer perspective. But like I said, in a very good spot there. Really right now we're focusing on All-Stars and what needs to happen there in terms of the fee that would be to compete in that essentially covers the uniforms, the hats, the tournaments that you play in, districts, those type of things. So, all right, so we'll turn it over to Joey on the baseball commissioner report. We'll put you on the spot, so.
I don't really have too much going on. Everything's gone really smooth, especially considering all the record number of kids we've had. Is my mic really on?
Your side's a lot better.
Basically, yeah, I just want to get through playoffs. The All-Stars, want to get all that kind of figured out. All the coaches that we recruited, we've had zero issues with. They're all planning on returning again in the fall and next spring. So, a lot of kids came from the acreage. They all seem very pleased with our league, and they're showing interest on wanting to stay and think that we run a much better league than some of the surrounding areas. Just planning on doing the B teams for All-Stars, which is kind of new, especially in the younger ages. Everything else has gone pretty smooth. I mean, you've done a great job with scheduling, and across the board, we've really had minimal issues. So my involvement has been very minimal, besides from the beginning. So that's pretty much all I have.
Yeah, I don't think we've had maybe I'd say two valid issues to deal with throughout the year.
It's been quiet.
When I say valid, bigger concerns, most of it is, silly little things that we're able to address either via the coach or via, in person, face to face. And really of the two, really one of them is really kind of an outstanding one. The other one seems to be fine. So we haven't had a whole lot there. But I'd say overall that the temperament's been pretty good. We have, we've had a few people that get animated. I get it. But, once we've addressed it, that's kind of calmed down. So
Yeah, I think
that's
overall, it's been a great
been
group of,
overall
yeah.
pretty good. All right, Mike is not here. I know one of the things to touch on that, just for softball, we identified our coaches already for those age groups. They had their tryouts last Saturday. So we'll see that selection of girls that are going to represent us for 8, 10, 12, and 14. And they'll start practices here soon for softball, which is good. They're a little ahead of the game, which is not a bad thing. And, with the addition of Farron, we'll have some space that, they'll be able to do that right away, which I think will give us a good head start in that regard. Other than that, I'd give kudos to Mike. I think he's done a good job with the group, at least, trying to accommodate what he can and communicating what he thinks is the best methodology to do. And
Some
I
big
talk to him
shoes to
pretty
fill, too.
regularly, and he communicates very well with the group. So that's been very helpful. And he has a vested interest, right? He has, 4 granddaughters that play softball. 3 of them play in our league, and I think 1 doesn't play at all. So he has all girls to coach. He'll be around for a little while with his family. All right, so we'll move over to the secretary's report.
Not a whole bunch. I'm just going through the email, and anybody that wants to coach All-Stars, I've been getting all their emails and putting them on a list. And then we just happen to make sure that anybody that's out on the field or that wants to coach and stuff is registered and has done all their credentials. That I checked too with the online, and I haven't come across anybody who hasn't been. We are having Make a Picture Day that I posted on social media and emailed about. And basically, just want to touch that, when we do have issues with the league, how we established, the 3, kind of so we're not all chiming in on it. We all have a say, but if we have something like a kid in the league, we've assigned 3 people that don't have kids in that prospective age group to kind of make the final say-so. So nobody's biased or anything like that. And so far with any issues that we've had, it's come out to be pretty good. It's come a good outcome on it. We have opening day coming up with the Marlins. I want to post on social media, so anybody that takes pictures at the game, I want to post on our social media. So I want to try to open up a channel so we get all of everybody's pictures sent in, because when we post them on Facebook, everybody loves them. And other than that, that's it. It's a possibility.
So it's those exhibition games, right? Before we get to the member at large, thank you for that, Ryan. I mean, we did this last year. I think it was wildly successful, well received. What did we have last year? We had
I was going to say, I wish I knew the numbers for last year, but this year we're at 948 total for tickets, so we're just under 1,000 people.
around 1,000 kids. We're the largest league that participates
Yeah,
with
we're the
them
biggest
every
league.
year, which is super cool. And they give us a ticket for every kid and one ticket for the kid and 1 ticket for the parent.
Yeah.
And then they do some additional things that, for the league as well. But pretty cool experience, right? I mean, I don't make it to a lot of baseball games. This makes it a point where it's something that we get to go to, and you get to go to it with your team and enjoy it. And we were joking. Yeah, they let us in for free, but I think I spent $300 on gear and hats, and so they got me on the other end of that.
Yeah, it's
for
not
sure.
easy to walk out empty-handed.
But we'll pass it over to you. I know you're the only one that's present, but any updates on your front?
Well, for the Marlins game, I was going to say, like I said, we're 948 strong. Last time I talked to the Marlins people, he said that game might be a sellout. Nice. So get there early. It's a Braves game. After the game, kids can run the bases if they want to. I was going to bring up concession stands. Brandon's doing a great job on the little kids' fields, 7, 6, 7, 8, or whatever. It looks a lot better than a boarded-up concession stand, with the windows open. It looks like we're a park. Hopefully we can work on doing Field 5, maybe one game. I think we play one game over there, so to have somebody over there and do one game would be great as well. But I just want to say good job to him over there, because it's nice to stand there and watch and see the environment over there rather than people sitting on the shelf where it's a countertop and everything like that. Other than that, I don't have anything else, other than I brought up to you, maybe the equipment room, we need a spring cleaning, have like a donation day, we can give away some old equipment, old helmets. We got piles of some older stuff, if kids want to go home and play in the neighborhood with it, and maybe donate to some newer equipment, $1 here, $1 there will help, but also that equipment room's swelling out with some older equipment that could probably go out the door, and some kids can have fun with it in the neighborhood, throwing it around. But other than that, yeah, that's all I have.
Awesome. So we'll move over to Brandon. I know I have a handful of questions, but it is your turn, sir.
Not a whole lot. We got lights back on over at Farron, so we're up and running there finally. I've been waiting. I've been waiting a long time to be able to say that. But then just on the other end, on the business end, what's that? The monthly financial and the quarterly reports.
Yeah, I believe I have the quarterly. I can send you that.
Okay,
I'm waiting
yes.
for the 990.
Okay.
So I'll make sure you get those.
Yeah, so we need those.
And keep me honest, because I don't remember the last one I sent to you. So if you're missing Q3 and Q4, I can send you those.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go back through and I'll send you over whatever we have missing on that front. Yeah, other than that, that's it. So just taking care of the things that need to be taken care of, and know y'all are winding down, getting ready for playoffs. So
Yeah, I mean, this is just my perspective. I'm sure others will agree with me, but we haven't had as many hiccups on the lining and the field preparation. I think I had to call you once so far.
okay, yeah,
And it was for Camille.
yeah,
So, I mean, I think the team's done a better job, kind of having those things ready for us and making sure it's all lined up. And I know on the travel front, the same way, it's been a lot smoother. So I appreciate that. Now, I know you had mentioned, just question for you, you had mentioned they had ordered new netting for, is it Farron, the overhead?
so they're working on netting for both, actually.
Okay.
Don't know when that's gonna happen,
Okay.
but they're definitely working on both parts, Willows and Farron, with the nets. Because I know the nets at Farron, they're starting to go. Yeah.
I mean, the ones at Willows aren't getting much better. I mean, if you sit in the right spot at field 4, between 3 and 4, you're gonna get nailed with the baseball.
Yeah. Now I'll find out exact status on it, but I know they're working on getting those ordered.
Now, I know you had mentioned, are they gonna do a lining project for field, was it field 1 and field 4 in the future?
Yeah. So coming up, it'll be. Was it So that project is it's in the works. I want to say that it's on the books for next fiscal year.
Okay.
As far as the exact timing of it, that we don't know. We don't know if it'll be winter or summer. But once we start getting a little bit more with the our engineering,
pain point, but if we can address field 2.
yeah, pending. It's really dependent on if they have to pull the poles out. If they leave the poles, we should still be able to work around it a little bit. Pulling the poles out probably causes the most time down. So once they, like I said, once they start getting a little bit more into that project, I'll give you the information and we'll get it worked out.
And guess I can ask you this offline, but, you know, one of the thoughts, and we've talked about this a couple times, is, you know, it would be nice in the main complex to have cages near the fields. So is that something I could deal with you and the ops person, you know, on what that cost build out would look like, and if it's something that we can go ask for sponsorships, or we can help cover?
Yeah, so that's a continuing conversation.
'Cause we have some green space to pull it off, I just don't know that, you know,
Yeah, so
some help from you guys to do that.
two parts. So if it's something that you're looking to do and get with sponsorships and have like a sponsor be able to buy and provide, and really what we need is just a proposal with the specs of everything, how it will be laid out, you know, how many feet per se. And once we have that, we can review it. If it's something that we okay it, then you could go ahead and purchase it and take care of it. But yeah, we'll need full specs. It'll have to go through a process to get approved.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be nice. That's probably the drawback to the Willows, right? You gotta go to field 5, essentially.
Yeah,
To go to the cages.
get the cages.
Walk across the parking lot and dodge the cars in the process to, to get that.
In the parking lot of slowing down. Like some speed limit signs, like that would be great out there, because I have 3 kids that are runners, and it's been close calls in that parking lot a few times.
Do we have a speed bumps in there?
I think there's one, and I think it's like maybe by the park. But like some signage would be great, like a slow down sign, or like a 5-mile-an-hour sign, something. Because it's definitely been, I mean, no incidences that like have happened yet. It's, I'm gonna throw a yet, because it's bound to happen.
Okay.
Jeremy almost got hit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's special. All right, so we'll make a motion to vote in the reports. Anyone want to second that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Reports in. Old business, I don't have any of that in front of me. I don't think we had anything too crazy to cover. I think we're going
No,
through
really,
schedules.
the only
and
thing that we
teams.
covered at our last meeting was more so like opening day stuff and all of that. That's about
Yeah,
it.
which, you know, I think that went fairly well. So, you know, it was nice to see the representation that we had. So we had a good group out there, and I think it was short and sweet, and had some fun on the other fields, and called it a night. Those food trucks were busy, I'll tell you that. They were busy. All right, so new business, we're not proposing it, but it is coming up. This is kind of our 30-day notice. We have 5 positions that are currently up for, we'll call it re-election, but up for election, which would be 2 members at large, baseball commissioner, softball commissioner, and treasurer, right? Currently treasurer is vacant. The other 4 currently have folks in them. If you're interested or someone else is interested, please send your nominations to the admin email so we have it in writing. And then we'll actually have our vote in about a month. So if someone's looking to be involved, and I know I've had a couple conversations with a couple of parents that have been around our league for a while that I think would be great additions to the board. It's very rewarding. It can be a lot of work from time to time, right? I do think once you build out the board and you have some folks, fall was a little tough because there was 4 of us. But now that there's 8 of us and soon to be 9 of us, makes it a lot easier to split up some of those responsibilities. And, things will just get better and better, right? As we learn what to do and what not to do and things that we like and how we need to operate. So those will be 5 key roles that will come up. Conversations I've had with the board is maybe splitting up the officer positions a little bit on when their rotations are, so we don't lose all the officers in one shot, which essentially the next go around would be president, secretary, and vice president, right? So you're losing 3 officers right out of the gate. So food for thought for us in the future. But I think the big new business that we need to discuss is probably our all-stars, right? So if you have that, maybe let's go through our nominees that you have for each age group.
So these are, so far, this is people who've emailed. If you haven't emailed, you're not on my list. I have 6U T-ball, Joey Thomas for the B team, and then Kyle Pano wants to do the A team. For 8U baseball, we have Alberto Lambis, and then Reggie Griggs would also, he said he would like to head or assist if he wants to, either or. 10U baseball, we have Carlos, and then Joseph Russo and Rafael Melendez. Both, they coach a 10U team right now. And then for 12U, I have Gary. And then 15U, I have nobody yet that's reached out. And then for 8U softball, I have Steve. And then 10U softball, I have Allie. And 12U softball, Chris Shelby, and then Jim Weber wants to assist. 14U softball, Megan Morley and Victor Velasco. Velasco, sorry. I was going on this. I think for just assistant, but I think it's only one team, right, for 14U, or are we doing two for 14U?
For softball? No, it's one age group, yeah. Yeah, no, we were fortunate. We got a waiver because some of the girls played up, so we got the waiver for allowing them to play down for 12U All-Stars if they wanted to, and so, we opted to do that. So we have one in each age group that will represent. So they'll have districts. We actually are in conversations with our softball district commissioner. So hopefully if we get the nets, we've offered to host next year for districts if they would allow us to do it, and we can do that at Fair, and that would be a great complex to host it. So we'll see what kind of comes of that. I think normally it's in Wellington, right? It was in Wellington last year, so it would be nice to host it in our home fields for sure for our teams. All right, so maybe let's talk through. I mean, I don't think there's much of conversations here. We have 2 and T-ball, right? So we have an A and a B. I don't think we have to formally vote on this, but if no one has objections, there's essentially an A and a B already. Same thing with 8. We have a lot of kids in 8. I want to say we have 60-plus kids in that age group, so we can easily field 2 teams. Likewise with 10, we have 60-ish kids in the 10 age group. So we have plenty of 10s to have an A and a B and potentially a 9, but we have no takers for the 9, the 11, or the 15 currently. Right.
Takari wouldn't want to do 11?
Well, we can talk to him, but so far.
I think he had mentioned, just through the grapevine, I haven't had it official, that he'd like to do the 11.
Okay.
Didn't he do it before?
He did 10U last
So
season.
would be 11 now.
Yeah, he's better with it. But I don't, we had some chat with the 9s and nobody for 15s so far, right? So unless that changes in the near future, we'll probably be missing 9, 11, and 15. So we'll drum those conversations up to see if we have representation. We have honestly more than enough kids in each of those age groups to have it. We just got to have a coach to head it. So, but we'll have one in each of the age groups, essentially in Cal Ripken.
To any of those coaches to ask if they want to do it?
Wow, you tell me. They would email me. I'm guessing no at this point.
I know not everybody's tech savvy, so.
So we essentially have, an A and a B. That's my recommendation for T-ball and what we discussed. So we got a roster 12 on each of the teams. B teams can play in districts. In the event that the B team wins the district, they have to play in the A state. This is, more on the baseball side. But if they win, they would have to play in the A. If they don't, they can opt to go play in the B states, wherever those states are, right? And so I shared that with the board recently, and it varies by age group, but there's some in Ocala, some in for those age groups. In my opinion, I'm good with an A and a B for 6, an A and a B for 8, an A and a B for 10. If we can squeeze out a 9, fantastic. If not, we'll roll with that. I'm good with an 11 if we have the coach for it, and we already have a 12. So not a whole lot of conversations there. I know Joseph and Raphael coach together anyways, right?
Yes.
So they would essentially be,
But Raphael must be coaching with me.
he's going to coach with you. Okay.
Remember, I only have 8, plus I gotta move.
Him?
from-
Okay.
Yeah,
So Joseph would be B?
yes,
Okay.
most likely.
Okay. Any conversation around that with the board? Concerns with that?
We were just talking about that yesterday,
Okay.
because of,
Well, not that, I mean, just in general with the other. Not specifically with yours, but in general with the names. I don't have any concerns with the coaches necessarily. You know, we just want to make sure we have a good representation, right, of who's out there. And, you know, and we have had some issues in the past, and I don't see that with any of these names, where they're going to go out and do something silly at a tournament and embarrass us. But who knows? Wild things happen. But, you know, what I can tell of these guys, I think, you know, they're all stand-up folks and, you know, competitive, but I don't see any of the issues that we've had in the past. So we'll talk about, you know, that and kind of finalize it and then talk about dates. You know, we'll kind of put it on once, which is pretty much the list here, when you guys want to host it.
Well, we can tell them now when they want to just start their tryouts even, maybe this Sunday.
Yeah, I would say we want to start it quick because, you know, we're towards, the first part of April here. And that'll give you some runway before Willows Bash, which is the first part of May. So we have a month of practice to get ready. And then I signed all of the baseball teams currently up for the Jupiter tournament, which is Memorial Day, right? So about 3 weeks later, you'll have the next tournament. And in between, you know, you have an opportunity to play some scrimmage games and house some other scrimmages if you need to. So we have a good runway. I mean, there's probably a good 2 months of practice starting right now.
We just have to talk to them about field space and what they can and can't be used. And like I said, it's kind of Sunday now only.
Well, I mean, it depends on the day. You know, we do have, right now we have Farron, with the exception of a few days I had to move some teams over there because some of our interleagues, they couldn't find umpires, so we shifted those games back to our fields. And in doing so, we had to push those practices somewhere else. So, which right now just happens to be Wednesday. So I can go through the grid. So Farron's available pretty much, and that meets almost every age group except for 12 and 15, right? And even softball. So if the times work out, and I already got Steve's times, we got Megan's times, we'll need Chris's times and preferred days at some point, and then we can put together a grid, and that's just what we'll stick to.
Yeah.
And then once rec's over, we have full access to Willows too, right? You guys essentially can stay on your field and just coordinate. If there's 2 of you, just coordinate with the other coach when you want to do it or if you want to run them together, right?
Yeah.
Either way is fine. But for now, we can utilize Farron or use what field space we do have, to your point, on late Saturday or Sundays, if the field's available.
Got you.
Oh, okay. Any other new business there for the group? I don't think we have anything that needs to be made a motion. I know Joey did a lot of work around all of our bylaws and our rules, so that's something that I've been going through. It's been a process, but just going through making sure we're capturing what our rules have been voted on and changed or updated and put on the website, because some of those are dated, I know, for the older age groups specifically, and a couple of the younger age groups, you know, just clarifying what those are and putting those in writing. That prior boards have essentially approved, but we just don't have them in writing, right? So we're saying, hey, here's the rules, and then we're saying, oh, but by the way. So we need it all in writing, so it's a little more clear for folks, and so that's something we're working on, is just to make sure that document's updated. And then even with Babe Ruth, I see a couple 15U folks, but, you know, it's now 16U, not 15U, so that's the age division. So some rules change there in that regard on what they can do and what they can't do.
So now, we do signups now in the fall, are we gonna advertise it as 16U? Not, okay, because I think that may drive
Sure,
a bit more, Tim.
sure, absolutely. Okay, well, I mean, we don't have anything proposed yet. You know, I think we're good with the coaching, so we'll finalize that. So we'll move over to open mic. If anyone has any feedback or anything to talk about? Yeah, oh, okay, go ahead. We're an open mic, it's perfect.
So if they're moving up to the next, like, say, like, he's in Centennial and they want to play up to the next division, is that a waiver we have to sign, or?
No, I don't-
That's not a problem, it's only if they're playing down to the waiver.
I don't think,
Me? What did I do?
I asked the question for baseball specifically. I believe you can play up without needing a waiver, but I'm just waiting for our commissioner to clarify that.
My son is 9, he'll play at Centennial, so I think that.
Yeah, I mean, I know for sure it isn't backwards, right? So if you have a 12U kid that played 15U, he's not allowed to come back and play 12U.
Oh, okay.
So if they're younger and they play up, they can't play back down for All-Stars. They can play at 15U, but they can't play at 12U, right? And so that's part of it. Yes. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Five.
Field 5.
No, it's just a flat. It's a flat all the way around. Yeah. They're weird.
Yeah. Yeah, bigger points.
brought that up.
Okay, so I don't know what's gonna happen.
It's changing to 16.
Because when Fifth shows up, okay, Ely shows up, Boca shows up, they're pitching 16-year-olds. Because it had last season where we had a player who left, he played with the Ely because he can't pitch. But then we're playing with the Ely and he's a pitcher. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, I can't talk to last season, but.
well, he left our league because he can't pitch, so why is he gonna stay here? So he went and played at Ely. But then when we play at Ely, which we do multiple times, he's their pitcher. We can't.
Yeah, they just raised the limit to 16.
Yeah, it would be a nice change, okay, because that would be nice, because from 15 to 16, that ain't a huge difference.
Sure.
Some of these kids are amazing, I've seen some that,
Is that our rule or is that a big group rule?
No, Babe Ruth just moved it to 16. It was 15.
No, I mean, like, as far as like pitching, 16.
No, we would allow 16-year-olds to play in the 15U, they just weren't allowed to pitch or catch.
you know, they're not allowed to
So
hit.
now they can?
Yeah, technically they can. Now you would up it to 17. So if you allowed to 17, they just couldn't pitch or catch.
So Phipps, Okagili, Boca, anyone we play for pitching, they're 16. And we're pitching, so what I can do, if I'm going to Phipps or I'm playing Okagili, they never have a 16, I'll let, because I'm not gonna, let the 16-year-olds pitch. If we're at Phipps, I'm gonna let a 16-year-old pitch, because I'm pitching, we're batting against 16-year-olds that are high school players. You know, that's why they got some decent teams, because they got decent arms and they can go for a while. That'd be a nice rule change. The other thing I want to bring up is we're always bumping kids up. So 11-year-olds are going to 12, and we're bumping them up. We're not bumping kids down. So this season I got 2 kids. I sent them to Ryan. They got no equipment. They never played baseball before. If you're 13 and you've never played baseball before, and your mom calls me and asks me what you need to bring to practice, I tell them a glove and a cup. Because I don't know if you want to invest in bags and bats and all this stuff at this age, because they're not, they struggle. Every time they get up to bat, they're not doing anything but staying in there or ducking out of the way. They're not going to come back next season, because, you know, we work
Yeah, I mean,
These kids aren't growing
yeah,
anything.
you can move them down. I mean, that's what I would probably recommend to a lot of you coaches, if we see that.
If you see them warm up, you can come to my warm up when we start practicing.
No, I mean,
you gotta
I'd say
get them out.
when we do the evals, right, let's do mechanics evals, right? Because that's a big issue with that age group, is half of them don't come to the evals.
Because they're told not to show up. We
I
did last
would
time.
right?
Not the new guys, yeah. That's the other problem. It's a separate thing. But the ones that are good, they just don't even bother showing up because they've already picked who they want to eat. But the new kids,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we got a couple of issues. The first one that you're bringing up, which I agree with, right? So if you guys are evaluating them and you see it, and I'm normally there for 15, or at least I have in the past 2 times, like if there's a genuine concern, then you guys should say, hey, let's move. We've done that with other age groups, right?
these last two were added after the fact.
So, I'm completely open to that, but, I need some assistance, because
Yeah, this is after the draft. We've added 3 or 4 kids. One
We've done that.
kid, he's a good kid.
we've done that a lot with a couple of AU kids that are playing 6U, a couple, like 6-year-olds that play, and put them on 3-4 because the potential's so low. Right, so,
Agree, just not being told that before
yeah.
the season
I'm just bringing it up.
progresses.
Because
You
these
still
kids are
understand
going-
that point.
The hard part is if they're at it after, right? And that's a scenario, and again, that's a challenging age group, and you know that, you've been coaching it for a while. Right, to get everybody to show up, even for a game, right? At least the past 2 seasons. Right, the other component of that, which, they do this in basketball, which I really like, it's almost like a blind draft. You don't show up and go on the lottery and just pick one out. Right, now, I don't know if that's a better scenario, because you still could all end up on the same team, but it's completely blind. You don't show up, or you move them at the end. Right, you move them completely at the end.
60, 80, that's fine, but I radar all the kids that are pitching on all the different teams. They're around 65.
Yeah.
If you're 13 and you enter play baseball, you're not going to be
That's
walking
different
around
too.
65-mile-an-hour hit. It's just not a good.
No, I think it's a fair, something we have to do.
Is that a reoccurrence, like every season?
It's every season.
Okay.
But this season was worse than our. I got
Yeah.
4 that they would play so much better on 12U. They would have more fun on 12U. You know what I'm saying? It's just more. They don't go hard and what you do. They do, but I got Tim who's like 6'2", who's finding these things in the outfield. This kid hits the fence, and 2 times to one of these kids, not even, well, he doesn't even go for it because he doesn't want nothing to do with that ball. Nothing to do with it. Tim's a big kid. I got one who's hit 2 home runs already this season. No one wants to play with that when you've never played baseball before.
Sure. No, I think that's
We're not feeling.
fair. The umpires, I would tell you, just communicate with me. Hire anybody, because I give him pretty regular feedback, right? I get it from Mike for softball, right? The softball people will say, hey, or T-ball, we've got a couple in T-ball.
He's
and
already-
I'm not here to fast people, but I go back to our guy who's our signer saying, hey, you gotta work with this person, or please don't bring them back. You're playing on your cell phone, not paying attention, right?
There's already after draft stage, so one of us at 7, I'll throw what we want. Take a couple swings, throw a couple balls, it's not that hard to know that they don't belong on such a elevated age group and speed and running and steal signs, and it's just, they're not, I don't see them enjoying themselves at all. At all. And then my good kids don't enjoy themselves at all, because they're
Yeah, I mean, so we just found out Saturday, Sunday, I don't know what day I texted him.
Yeah.
I saw the lights on, I drove by a couple nights and I saw the lights on, and, you know, Brandon and they're playing the programming, make sure it works the right way. So this is like a very good thing. I'm not opposed to moving that, so initially what I moved was 8U and 10U. I don't think it affects you, but it affected Parker and Stinson. Wellington did have umpires, right? So I moved those back to us on field one, and I moved those practices, which were softball practices, over to, and I think 8U baseball uses field too, we moved them over there. But yeah, Thursdays, I don't think we have a major issue with any of the schedule, so I'm happy to move them over there if you guys prefer to play there instead.
We would love to. So
Okay.
you
Which
can put that
field
in
do you
sports
prefer?
engine. I think it's field four.
Field 1 and 2 in the back, right? And then field 3 is up front.
One is the furthest back.
1 and 2 have fences, 3 is the open.
3 is the walkway with the people walking around.
So if you could update sports engine.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that if you guys are prefer to play there.
And I've already advised the umpires for Thursday night when you're playing there. But if you could change that.
Yeah, I gotta go through a pull hall, so I'm gonna capture all that.
Then the second thing I had is you combine 14U and 12U this season so that we would have quote, unquote, more teams to play. I've only played the Hurricanes. I think I've played the Owls once. I've played 7 games against the same team. Everybody says it's because nobody wants to play that team. The ladies threaten to slash tires and do stuff with the board. Well, I don't know. The board is scared of their team, I guess, because they were gonna pick one of those players out, and then they decided not to pick the player out.
Yeah.
It's the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's the Hurricanes.
So I heard that she wrote a letter to the board so she would be allowed to play. I've never seen the letter. I heard her mom had to write a letter. I've never seen the letter. But the other 2 teams refused to play that team. I played them 6 times out of 7 games. It doesn't make sense. And we keep beating them, so they can't say anything, but still, they are aggressive. They do have bad attitudes. And we keep getting stuff played. I don't know why that would happen. You know, it's the whole.
yeah, I'll take care of the credit for that one, because I do the schedule, but now you gotta make me go online and look at the schedule and see where the game plays. They've all been scheduled that way, or do they?
I don't play the Gators and the Owls one more time. The rest of the season, I played the Hurricanes 2 more times.
What's good wins for?
I'm undefeated, so I'm not worried about it. And honestly, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably not gonna be there, is just get the schedule. We've had a lot of, and I'm not giving you excuses, but on the softball side in particular, there's a lot of restrictions, right, with what days you can and can't, and that kind of hinders how that works out. Now, part of it is making that work out for you guys, like if you can't play Tuesday or Wednesday or, you know, whatever the scenario is. Now, the flip into that is making sure you all make teams, right? I have the same issue with T-ball.
Yes, I was gonna say.
Is that,
I think the only softball team that had an issue was one team that had a bunch of travel players.
oh no,
The only team that had a
oh
softball.
no, I have a laundry list of days that I was given by my kid, that from literally all 8 softball coaches, right? And so, I'm not giving you an excuse, I'm looking at him, and he has the same one. He's asking me why he can't play the other team, and I said, because they only play on the day you're not allowed to. So, you know, I'll keep playing for
I filed in the same person's for Stephanie. That's what I heard.
I'm happy to rotate. I'll look at it.
Maybe.
I'll take credit for that.
Players that maybe please don't come back, or coaches maybe please don't come back. I think you guys should readdress that one issue, that please don't come back. And we all know what I'm talking about.
You're the Gators, right?
FSU.
So when I pull that up there, confuse me with the future.
There's one other issue too. I know that the fee hasn't been decided for 14U versus 12U. I know 14U wants to go to states and do Lake City and everything. I don't think 8U and 10U want to, and I know 12U does not want to.
8U is.
have some other costs that are kind of loop into that. So when we do the quick math, it's, you know, I'm rounding here between 150 and 200, right? But that includes a hat, which you guys don't have, right? So the $23 hat, which we got for a good deal. So really, it's just whatever we're gonna pay, because we also pay for districts, right? And it's, I think softball's a little bit cheaper, but baseball's $400 a team, right? So 12 players on a team, just do $30, $40 a kid, right?
We do play for districts, you pay for districts, you just said we didn't pay for districts.
Don't pay for states. States.
No, I'm sorry, we pay for districts, you cannot play for states. There's no fee to play in states. There's no fee for the team to compete. You just sign up and go. Same thing with the World Series, if you make that far for an optional or an invitational, it's on, you know, your dime and coach's dime too.
I just want it fair for the kids that are only playing in 2 tournaments.
Yeah.
And that's it, versus playing in. Yeah, so 10 and 12 is going to do FSP.
Yeah, I mean, it's, like I said, it's a little more complicated. Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, that's why we haven't given you guys our number, because one of the conversations we're having is, what do you want to do, right? So if you're all going to go to Heroes, one of the ones out of Sims, if you're all going to go there, you know, I'll sign up and pay for that now on behalf of the league, and as we kind of tally these amounts up, but really it's just to cover the costs, right? We're not, again, looking to cover that.
I think our costs are very simple. We have 2 tournaments, one here that we might do jerseys, umpires.
Yeah.
So I trust you in figuring that out. The only other thing I need to say is that, you know, I've requested a couple things from Mike, like our insurance paper and our sponsor letter, a form letter. Can we get an email that has our form letter for sponsorships that has your, you know, Youth Baseball Association?
Yeah, I think he just asked for that recently.
I think I have the old one.
I'll get you that.
Yeah, we forward that to everybody.
Well, the insurance is a little different. I mean, the insurance, it relates to where you guys compete, right? So when you play in a tournament, you have to give them the insurance with their name or that association, whoever's sponsoring the tournament, right? Whether it's a travel league, or USSSA, or, you know, Youth Baseball Association, I gotta write that. Because the same thing I had to do for several palms. We have a couple of fields that we got for longer age groups because we were running out of space.
No, I'm talking about sponsorship.
Yeah.
Or,
Well, you said insurance.
fundraising.
Yeah,
So
I have
it
that.
says, hey, you know, 14U softball is all-stars.
Absolutely.
We're trying to raise money. Will you donate? Kind of.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have those. We used them last year. So let me dig them up and I'll send them.
Okay.
Okay.
What's for dinner?
Okay, awesome. Well, listen, I appreciate the feedback. You know, the schedule is a whole different beast, you guys know. T-ball, you know, we made some arrangements there, but, you know, in T-ball, similar to you guys, I have three coaches that coach 2 teams, right? So there's some other restrictions there balancing that out. You know, generally, I would ask, just, if you see it up front in the future, just say, hey, dude, you played against the Hurricanes 8 times. And you all play on Thursday, which is, I think, what we came to. It's an easy go.
Yeah, but it gets old.
It's not intentional, right? I'm staring at 30 of them, so I'll take credit for that.
6U, we have 8 teams, same thing.
Softball? You got 38 baseball teams. No, 36, including softball. So there's 28 baseball teams. 28. 7 travel. They
Will they Karen dedicated to softball?
If we have all the teams, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was talking with Ed earlier when I saw him there. I mean, the simple math for most of the fields, based on the way we have it written. Now, we can open this up, but generally we don't play on Fridays and Sundays, right? That's kind of our marker. We have it written in our rules that way actually as well. We have made accommodations for that because some of the coaches prefer, like Steve and Mark.
I think it was our rule because on the baseball side, Fridays and Sundays was dedicated to travel ball.
Correct, correct. Now, we can open it up, doesn't matter to me, you can play all every day of the week if you want. But you can fit very comfortably 4 teams, right? You have two teams practicing, Mondays, Thursdays, and the games Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we have 8 teams, that's 2 fields, right? And then it leaves you an overflow field, which for fall won't really matter. But spring, like this spring is crazy, so you might have to have that based on accommodations for schedules, right? So the short answer is, yeah, I don't really see an issue with it. The long answer is if, all of softball says I need to practice on Monday and Wednesday, and I don't have enough field space for you, then you may go to Willows, right? So it changes the perspective based on what the accommodations are for the manager. Like AU is a good example. AU baseball, they can only have Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. Because all 5 coaches can't do Tuesdays and Thursdays, right? So there's only one field, right, with 5 teams. So the short answer is yes, right? So if there's some flexibility there and we have the space, then, that would be the ultimate goal. Follow it up when you see an issue with that, right, or overflow. Because we're going to have one back at Willows if softball goes there. The catch to that is that's another concession, right? So much like we heard earlier with Field 5, right? So this is a set of people who run Field 5, set of people who run. So if all that infrastructure exists, then I'm 100% on board for it, but we just need to make sure it exists.
I think if you let softball take over, we will be able to do concessions.
I was gonna ask you this, after the meeting, because I really would like, if we could set up like a meeting or shop slash.
Yeah.
I think that would be the best route we should go, that way we can actually talk about what we want to do for the fall,
Yeah.
the future of softball.
Mhm.
There's a lot of great ideas that we have and a lot of things that we can do that would eliminate a lot of problems. Damn. You know what I mean? I just don't want to get open out and take over.
You give Chris other teams to play. So
Your boy's got your number.
Huh?
Your boy's got your number.
yeah, absolutely. That's
Yeah,
it.
Thursday.
Once we get through that.
I know.
What do you mean he's got my number though?
He's like, yeah, it's the battle of the first place teams. I'm like,
Yeah, but
dude's got the standings.
I asked him what he was. He said I'm undefeated with 2 ties.
I know. I told him he needs to release it because you're gonna wait till the last day and everything.
I have the best ranking, bro. Bro, I have the best ranking.
How are you guys doing it? Like right now?
I'm 1 and 8.
Any other feedback for open mic? Okay. No, listen, I appreciate everyone coming. It's been a good season, a lot of stuff to learn, right? I mean, I have a lot of notes for things that we'll do a little bit different in the fall for sure. Won't be as congested in the fall, so it won't, in my opinion, have some of the concerns that we heard brought up today, but it'll have us prepared for the spring as to kind of a good game plan. Plus, we gained 2 fields, right? So we gained those 2 fields because we had Camilla. So that'd be a huge advantage to us to be able to separate that out and be able to operate in a different manner. So I appreciate everyone coming. I appreciate the feedback. It's the only way we get better, right? I stare at the stuff a lot. These guys do a lot of the same things, right? We don't always recognize all of it, so sometimes it takes it being pointed out. So we do appreciate that. I genuinely do. If it's constructive and makes it better for everybody, let's do it, right? That's why we're here. That's why we're spending the time and effort and energy to do it. At the end of the day, just put a good product together that they want to come back to, right? Or in some cases, I mean, T-ball is a great example of this. We are attracting people at a younger age from the neighboring leagues, right? And I don't say that because we do things 1,000 times better, but they've seen how we operate. They've seen the environment, and for the most part, we don't have a lot of, I'd say, drama, right? At least not a ton, right? There's always some. You're always going to have that. There's no getting away from it. But I'd say compared to even fall, it was minimal. compared to last spring or the spring before, pretty minimal. So I think we have a good set of managers and coaches and folks involved, right, to kind of keep that under wraps. And most of the stuff the coaches nip in the butt, which is extremely helpful, right? Because in the past, I know that it wasn't always the case, and Martin and Ed could probably attest to that, right? You get a slew of emails. Now you get the email that Chris says, hey, I had this problem with this parent. I talked to him. I warned him, and I don't have the issue anymore, right? Just giving you a heads up in case you see it or hear it again. So that's a huge help, right? And that's a testament to the group that we've picked to lead those teams. And makes, again, only makes the whole league better in that regard. All right, so I'll make a motion to go ahead and close the meeting. Second. All right, thank you all. Have a great night.